intervention occurs at a moment of crisis for our nation. The attacks on our police and the terrorism of our cities threaten our very way of life. Any politician who does not grasp this danger is not fit to lead our country. The crime and violence that today afflicts our nation will soon, and I mean very soon, come to an end. Beginning on January 20th of 2017, safety will be restored. What about our economy? Again, I will tell you the plain facts that have been edited out of your nightly news and your morning newspaper. Nearly 4 in 10 African American children are living in poverty, while 58% of African American youth are now not employed. 2 million more Latinos are in poverty today than when President Obama took his oath of office less than 8 years ago. Another 14 million people have left the workforce entirely. The most important difference between our plan and that of our opponent is that our plan will put America first. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. The American people will come first once again. Big business, elite media, and major donors are lining up behind the campaign of my opponent because they know she will keep our rigged system in place. My message is that things have to change, and they have to change right now. Every day, I wake up determined to deliver a better life for the people all across this nation that have been ignored, neglected, and abandoned. I have visited the laid-off factory workers and the communities crushed by our horrible and unfair trade deals. These are the forgotten men and women of our country, and they are forgotten, but they're not going to be forgotten long. These are people who work hard, but no longer have a voice. I am your voice. Since the election, we have created 2.4 million new jobs. And something I'm very proud of, African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
Unemployment for Hispanics hit an all-time record low in June, and new polls showing that Trump's approval rating among Hispanics rising rapidly.
In his first year, Donald Trump has done about 64% of our mandate for leadership. So we were quite encouraged, and for anyone who doubts whether or not we have a conservative president, we in fact do.
The Iranian regime is the leading state sponsor of terror. It exports dangerous missiles, fuels conflicts across the Middle East, and supports terrorist proxies and militias such as Hezbollah, Hamas, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Successful test of an intercontinental ballistic missile, possibly capable of reaching Alaska. North Korea's official statement celebrating the launch, promising to root out what they see as the U.S. threat.
If you remember August of 2017, we were on the verge of World War III.
North Korea was lobbing missiles over Japan, was threatening Guam, had nuclear capabilities, and the president said that Kim Jong-un and the North Korean people will be met with a fire and fury like the world has never seen.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
The media was apocalyptic, said you can't speak to North Korean leaders like that. You can't use that sort of language. You're going to get us into a war. And instead, it was a language, it turns out, that Kim Jong-un actually understood. And he began to acquiesce, and he began to stop testing missiles.
North Korea will not find security and respect through threats and illegal weapons. We will work with our friends and allies to stand up to this behavior, and we will redouble our efforts toward a more robust international non-proliferation regime that all countries have responsibilities to meet.
They accelerated toward a nuclear bomb under the Obama administration because they saw it as their opportunity. Ironically, that's the number one issue Barack Obama said he was handing to Donald Trump to solve on the world stage. And what has President Trump done? He's forged a path to solve it. But he didn't play by the consensus games of Washington, D.C. Never once did intelligentsia crowd say, you know what you should do? You should tell Kim Jong-un fire and fury is coming his way. You should tell Kim Jong-un he's going to get a bloody nose if he tries it again. You should ramp up troop deployments, ramp up military exercises, maximize the pressure, utilize China to put pressure on North Korea. And here we are. We're getting actual action on the Korean Peninsula.
And now we have all sides talking, and people are talking about Donald Trump, of all people, winning a Nobel Peace Prize.
Republican Congressman Luke Messer launching an effort to nominate President Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize.
That could end up being his legacy. That could end up being his biggest accomplishment as president if he is actually able to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula.
It's my opinion that within the next 2 years, I think we'll get 4% growth.
You and your magic beanstalk beans are not being realistic.
There's just no way to see how you can get that kind of growth unless you really, it just doesn't make sense.
He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. How exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have?
In the event Donald wins, I have no doubt in my mind the market tanks.
Trump's policies would throw us into a recession, the last thing we need.
Breaking news.
Okay, on a morning of breaking news, it just continues. The Commerce Department has just released the latest quarterly economic numbers, and they are big.
President Trump predicted a terrific GDP report. Now we know it is 4.1%.
Most liberal economists said it would be impossible for Trump to get to 3 or 4% growth, and we're there now.
Well, in fairness to the president, he came in and said the reason he needed to be president is to get growth going again. And he predicted he was going to have really substantial growth. People were really skeptical about it. He's delivered, in fairness to him.
I am going to be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. Remember that.
The unemployment rate slipped down to 3.8%. That is the lowest we have seen since 2000. Another 1/10 of a percentage point there, and you'd have the lowest unemployment rate since 1969.
My economic team is developing historic tax reform that will reduce the tax rate on our companies so they can compete and thrive anywhere and with anyone. At the same time, we will provide massive tax relief for the middle class. The biggest tax cut, biggest reform of all time. So it's an honor to have you with us, and we will sign this right now. I am looking to appoint judges very much in the mold of Justice Scalia.
President Trump picks Judge Neil Gorsuch as his nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court.
I am calling for one of the largest defense spending increases in history. We will give the men and women of America's armed services the resources you need to keep us safe. We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
May the opening of this embassy in this city spread the truth far and wide, and may the truth advance a lasting peace between Israel and all our neighbors. God bless the United States of America.
I will lift the restrictions on the production of shale, oil, natural gas, and clean oil. Okay. Keystone Pipeline. We ordered that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. The people in the media heard me say that during the campaign many, many times. For every 1 new regulation, we have eliminated 22. We will always defend the very first right in the Declaration of Independence, and that is the right to life. We have kept another promise. My administration has proposed a new rule to prohibit Title X funding from going to any clinic that performs abortions. People who are terminally ill should not have to go from country to country to seek a cure. I want to give them a chance right here at home. It's time for Congress to give these wonderful, incredible Americans the right to try. We are finally giving these wonderful Americans the right to try. Together, we're going to deliver real change that once again puts America first. That begins with immediately repealing and replacing the disaster known as Obamacare. Individual mandate is being repealed. When the individual mandate is being repealed, that means Obamacare is being repealed.
In May, the private sector was on fire. 218,000 new jobs added.
That is a wow number. Overall, an economy that is on a rock-solid footing.
The market is well positioned. We're sitting right off the all-time highs.
It is called, I believe, a return to prosperity.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country.
Tens of thousands marched in streets across the United States on Saturday. Protests held in big cities such as Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. But in Portland Saturday night, it turned violent.
People filling the streets in America's cities, protesting President-elect Donald Trump.
Crowds set fires, blocked freeways, and gathered at Trump's buildings all across the country.
Anyone who may be taken aback by my comments, I don't really care if you are. I hope you are. For years now, it has been, 2.5 years since he officially entered the political arena. His supporters made excuses, continue to make excuses for him. You also might want to do some self-examination. What does it say about you that no matter what, you continue to make excuses for this man, for his vile behavior, this sort of vile behavior? Doesn't that make you just as bad, if not worse, than him? And for all of you who over the last few years have uttered that tired, lazy, uninformed, uneducated, ignorant response of calling me and others who point out racist behavior racist, you know what you can go do?
Fuck Trump.
We don't want to fucking hear from you. Get the fuck away from us. We don't want to fucking hear from you. We got nothing to fucking say to you. Get the fuck away from our man. We don't want anything to do with you. You're a fucking fash.
It's fucking over. The discourse is over. We have argued, we have pondered. The discourse is over.
We're not going to be polite anymore. We're going to fight back.
We begin with several developing stories here on a Friday night. First, the violent and bloody clashes outside a Donald Trump event.
Violent scuffles ensued, all of this becoming a part of a pattern of unrest
fueled by antagonism and divisive rhetoric.
Kelly Burke is charged with disorderly conduct. Investigators say she was screaming obscenities at a teenage girl, all because she was wearing a T-shirt supporting President Donald Trump.
You're a piece of shit, bro. You're a fucking piece of shit.
Why did he get his hat taken by somebody who dislikes Donald Trump? Are you talking to
the president? You ain't support shit, nigga.
Just make that hat great again and turn it right in the trash.
Look, nonviolence worked, and we are going to try to stop this.
What we've got to do is fight in Congress, fight in the courts, fight in the streets.
Donald Trump's campaign is surrounded by controversy this morning after a weekend of chaos and violence.
It is a result of the culture of Trump supporters.
We need a revolution.
Are you suggesting that the entire Trump vote was racist and by racists?
I think yes.
I'm not going to.
I don't think that's a Nazi.
I'm not a Nazi. What are you doing, man? Hey.
People of color who are attacked by their fellow citizens who feel emboldened to be publicly racist. Because the president is. His supporters, what does it say about you?
A terrifying night of violence as Donald Trump supporters were attacked by an angry mob waiting for them outside a Trump rally.
What happened? This guy like sucker punched him in the back of the head.
You also might want to do some self-examination.
Another fist fight's about to break out right now. Trump supporter is getting pummeled right now.
One Trump supporter got knocked around when a fight broke out.
Homeless woman confronted as she showed her support for Donald Trump and his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
You continue to make excuses for this man for his vile behavior. Doesn't that make you just as bad, if not worse?
The protesters shaking cars, breaking taillights.
The mob even followed the Trump supporters to their cars.
We will punch some people in the face. Trump supporters harassed, beaten, and bloodied by mobs of protesters. Who ruled it?
These are anti-Donald Trump protesters.
He's bleeding bad. No, he's bleeding bad. He's bleeding bad. He's bleeding bad.
Man viciously beaten, all because he voted for Donald Trump.
Oh shit, he's bleeding. Yo, yo, yo. Bleeding hard.
No Trump, no wall, no USA at all. No Trump, no wall, no USA at all. No Trump, no wall, no USA at all. No Trump, no wall, no USA at all.
I don't respect this president. I don't trust this president. He's not working in the best interest of the American people. His motives and his actions are contemptible, and I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45. Impeach 45. Impeach 45.
What are you gonna do, bitch? What are you gonna do? Hey, back the fuck up, bro. I'll treat you like a man. Personal property. That's what you want, right? You go right? You go.
I'm filming you.
Oh, I'm gonna hurt you.
Because you have a mask on. Oh, shit.
Motherfucker. Oh, shit, he's bleeding. Yo, yo, yo. Hey, man.
A few years ago, ideas that we talked about were thought to be fringe ideas, radical ideas, extremist ideas. Those ideas are now mainstream.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. and you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
What's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women?
One way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy, so please bring on the recession.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
In length. What a...
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
You see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd.
Those Republican leaders and President Trump don't give a...
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
When they go low, we kick them.
And if you see anybody in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
Is this the quote unquote mob?
Shut it down! 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 Shut it down!